Europe has just moved closer to a peace deal framework than ever before. And at this very moment, I would say that this is probably the most concrete plan we've seen so far, and it involves a 6 point plan. So let's actually break down what's inside of it. First, Europe and the United States will provide long term military support to rebuild Ukraine's armed forces, keeping them roughly around 800,000 active troops. This on their own would be a deterrent from the Ukrainian side to make sure that if Russia does try to invade, there's 800,000 men ready to go. Second, a European led multinational force would operate inside Ukraine, backed by the United States. This would help by securing Ukraine's air and then, of course, its seas, and would help regenerate its military. So they would be training the military, so they're making sure that they're still up to date with the biggest changes on the battlefield, even though Ukraine's kind of doing that for other nations. Third, the United States would lead a ceasefire monitoring system, which would detect any direct violations early and try to prevent it before it could happen. AKA, they could see whether or not there's a buildup of Russian troops somewhere and then decide, hey, if something's looking kind of weird, Russia, you got to stop this, or X, Y, and Z might happen. Fourth, participating countries would be in a legally binding commitment to respond if Ukraine is attacked again. This includes, but is not limited to, potential use of force, intelligence sharing, and economic measures. Fifth, the plan would include massive reconstruction investment. They would also include trade support and compensation for war damage, with Russian assets in Europe still frozen. And then sixth, this would be leaders reaffirming the full support for Ukraine joining the European Union. Remember, NATO kind of off the table. Zelensky said that. He just wants security guarantees as like an Article 5 kind of reaction. And, in this, it kind of does state that, just not word for word. The one thing I want to add, though, these European leaders had stated that they support Ukraine's and Zelensky's decision on how they should move forward, and that Zelensky is the only one who makes the decision on what happens with Ukraine moving forward. AKA, borders cannot be changed by force, whether it's the United States forcing it onto Ukraine or some other thing. So now everything shifts back to Moscow, in which, will they agree to this? Will they agree to an immediate ceasefire, something that is also a part of this? We don't know. We truly don't know. I do know that Zelensky and Trump will talk about this. You let me know if you think that Russia will accept this. Let me know in the comments section below.